everyone. Welcome to today's live human design chart reading, where we're really going to dive deep into someone's chart. And I'm so excited to have our guest on today. I'm Courtney Koenig, igniting your human design to become a powerful, profitable, purposeful boss of your business, of your career, and of your life. Now, as we go through this human design chart reading, and I'll introduce Aimee in just a second, I want you to drop any questions that you have in the comments. I want you to share, as you've been living with a projector, for yourself, for others, for those on your team, how can you better understand them? That way we can work together as teams. We can work together and show up as ourselves as the best way possible. That makes all the difference. Putting your stamp on your life is a gift that you give to others and you give to yourself. Now, if you don't know what your human design type is, if you're like, what is this? Drop roadmap and I'll get that to you as well. And we'll find out what human design type you are. So remember, human design shares with you the gifts that you were born with. It's your own booklet of how do you operate in this world? What are your strengths? What are some of your challenges? And to know that creates special relationship within yourself, because you're challenging expectations that, oh, I should be doing this or I should be doing that, right? So we reframe your life, because you are in charge of how your life looks. You're in charge of how your career looks, and you can utilize those gifts to create something even more beautiful than you ever imagined. All right, so I'm coming to you from Texas, and here we have like kind of overcast. It's been raining for a couple days, so drop an emoji of the weather that you have in your area. All right, I want to introduce to you guys Aimee Devlin. She is a business coach and alignment coach, inspiring women to take agency into their lives so that together they can build a bright future. She is an Aussie mom who is living in Mexico, and she's a fierce advocate of freedom-focused life. With her 10-year experience in the online space, she has this wealth of knowledge that she can bring to you in the business space. And she pairs really what she works with the outer world and connects that with the inner world and finds that those spaces so that you can become. All right, everybody, welcome. Please welcome Aimee. Hi, Aimee.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Courtney. It's so lovely to be here. And I'm very grateful for you sharing your time and your experience with me here today.
Oh, I'm so grateful to have you. We connected online and I was like, she has the best energy, and you really do. And that's who I gravitate towards. I was like, I can feel your energy even through your profile and through your words. And I was like, oh my goodness, just divine. So I'm so excited to be here with you.
Thank you.
So we'd like to get to know our guests real quick before we jump into your chart. So do you have a favorite book or show that you've been watching or reading lately?
I've been reading a lot about, this is quite a deep topic, but I've been reading a lot about my mothering, and looking at it obviously as a mother, but also the way that I was mothered, and kind of undoing some of the patterns that I have inside of me. One of the books that I've been reading that was really profound is called The Emotionally Absent Mother. And that was huge for me. I really learned a lot about myself and the patterns that I have and the reasons why I'm the way I am. It was very intriguing. And I'm also a sucker for romance. So Virgin River is like the top of my list. I just love anything that's like that. If you have any recommendations of similar things like Virgin River, send them my way, because I'm a suck.
Yes. Well, it just feels so good, and it's all going to end well.
Yeah.
It's like some of the shows, I'm just like, oh my gosh, they're giving me more anxiety.
Yeah. My partner loves like shoot 'em ups and this kind of thing, and I'm like, no, I just give me the good stuff. Feel good. Yeah.
Feel good. Yes. Get your mind off things. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So you guys are living in Mexico. You're from Australia. I'm sure you've traveled different places and stuff, but tell us your favorite place you've traveled to.
Ooh, my favorite place. I like places with culture. I like places that have history and depth. Because, I mean, Australia is a beautiful place. We have amazing landscapes and it's just stunning. We've got all of the different places. We've got desert, we've got ocean, we've got rainforest. It's stunning. And it's a very new kind of country in terms of like our culture and things. So it can feel for me quite sanitary and sterile. But when I went to Europe, like France, and even here in Mexico, and I see like the old buildings with the stone, and like I can just feel the like what has happened in these places. And so that's what inspires me, like imagining the people who've been there before and lived there and what stories they would have to tell me.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that. Yeah, there is like my husband and I went to Amsterdam and Paris before COVID, and it was our first time going to Europe, and that's what I did notice is the soul of the
Yeah.
place is so rich and developed and just beautiful. It was stunning. Yeah, and amazing good food too. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's great. All right. Well, I'm excited to share different parts of your chart. So whenever I do a chart reading, on your chart there is, and you're semi-familiar with this stuff. So
Yeah.
you get your chart and you're like, wow, there's a lot here. It can be overwhelming. Well, in when we're looking at really supporting people and making changes, as you know, throwing everything at a person is not a good idea, right?
Yeah.
So when I look at a chart, I always feel, what is the soul trying to tell the person? What's the messages trying to come through for them? And so as we start, as your projector, you are a non-energy being, which means you don't have that sacral energy center, which is fueling all the energy and things like that. So you do have a defined root, which makes you an energy projector. And so you're going to have more energy than a classic projector. So you'll have a more drive, but you have waves of getting it done versus waves of slower pace. And this is waves like daily, So you're going to feel that. So often we catch ourselves in this comparison, and we were talking about this before the show, this comparison of, what it looks like to be a business owner is a generator or a manifesting generator who has all this energy, who can wake up at 5 a.m. and go all day long. And we're like, yeah, that's not us. Don't sign me up for that,
Yeah.
But we can honor how we do it in our own way, right? It's not that projectors take more time to get things done because they can see this bird's eye view of how to get things done in a more efficient way. It's almost like that phrase of that we can ingrain in ourselves even more is does this task need to be deleted, delegated, or diminished in a way, right? We don't need to overcomplicate things. We can get beautiful things done quickly and have things out into the world. But they look differently. It doesn't look like waking up at 5 a.m. or anything like that. So yes, no, thank you. And it's so refreshing to recognize that phrase, like, oh, well, if you're not up at the 5 a.m. club, you must have something wrong with you, it diminishes your worth within the business world, and that's not true at all. So you are, as projectors are, an amazing coach, guide, and mentor. You're meant to do that. You're meant to do that. You are ingrained. It's in your DNA as a projector. You are a new version of a CEO, one who points others to use their gifts, to use their strengths within the organization, within their business, within their lives. And you care about the success of each person that you come across, each person that you work with. You deeply care about their success. You have this innate understanding of how to manage people with this wisdom of how they can use their energies to carry it out more wisely. So you can see this broader picture. And you help others to do the best because you see in them the best and you allow them to shine. Now, how have you used this gift in your coaching practice?
It's a very interesting and beautiful question because I just feel like that is me. That's one of my skills and my talents. And it wasn't until I realized that some other people don't have that I realized that was a gift. That, not everyone can see these kind of things. Like I can tune into someone and just I don't really like using the term download because I feel like it's diminishing my own kind of existence. I don't really like how people say that these days. I think it's overdone, but it's
Yes.
like tuning in and finding that resonance with other people. I'm able to find resonance with other people easily and see what they don't see about themselves. And often that looks like just asking questions. That is my superpower, is asking the right questions. And that's something I really rely on in my, I mean, that's what a coach does. A coach asks questions and a mentor guides. I do both things, but my strength is asking the right questions of people that I'm working with and just allowing them to come to their own conclusions about what they should do. I don't like telling people what is right for them. I like them to have that moment of realization for themselves. And I find that really powerful.
Like facilitating the pathway, you know? Yeah, I love that. And I love what you brought up too is the point of, oh, not everybody can do this, you know? Just because it comes easy.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think, oh, it's not as special because it comes easy, you know? But it is, it resonates and it's very special to us because it's our skills, you know? It's your skill set that allows you to see other people, allows you to ask the right questions, to say the right thing, to move people from one place to the next while they're walking through it. You know, it's that linking arms together, which feels so good because it's like, oh, you know what? You see your clients, you feel what they feel, you understand what they're going through. And so, because of that, just feeling seen is a gift that you have, you know, and not other people can do that. And a lot of with projectors, because we have a lot of open centers, which are the white centers on that triangle diagram with a person, because of that, we're able to sense a lot of people's thoughts, feelings, emotions, and different and intuitive fears or whatever is going on in them. We can sense that. And so there's a conversation that happens from energy to energy without us having to speak it. And so you can take that knowledge and just hit it right on and just lean into that and know, okay, I have this gift. This is what I'm feeling. I'm going to use that knowledge and help my client to progress.
I love the way you put that. It's taken me a while to fully trust that, like that intuitive hit of, you know, it was a lot of trial and error and not listening to that and then realizing, oh, I was right. Okay, maybe next time I'll listen to that. And then just having the courage to speak up and kind of guide people here and there. And then I realized, oh, okay, that's a gift.
That's a thing. Yeah. And that's a thing that not other people have, you know, that's what makes you special and able to practice within this space. So with projectors, recognition is one of the topics that comes up often. Projectors love to be recognized, and it brings out their best, and it makes their life sweeter. Now, what can happen, especially in this online space, we can look at like, oh, well, that post didn't get a whole lot of comments or attraction as much as I thought, or we see other people that are like, oh, wow, look at them, you know, type of thing. So this sense of recognition, the sense of belonging really starts within a projector's soul first. That's where they need to start at first. And in order to really belong somewhere, we need to belong within ourselves first. So, and this will cause others to have that recognition as well. We talk a lot about in the projector world about wait to be invited, right? And this wait to be invited is not just sitting on the couch watching some shows, even though that's really lovely to do. And we need that, you know? And we should never say to ourselves, oh, I should just get doing some stuff, you know? Like that's part of a need, and that fills this capacity for us to do more. But when we're waiting to be invited, we bring good things to the world, right? We're bringing great business ideas, great offers, great posts, great things to the world. And then that recognition comes in by people leaning in, just saying, oh, hey, what's up? Or friending us or having a conversation. That's the weight. That's all it is. It's just that little weight, like, oh, you know what? It's almost like cold calling versus warm calling. Warm something, that type of thing, like there's some sort of relationship developed already, so we can lean into that. And then of course, when other people ask us, yeah, that's of course the invitation, but it doesn't have to be so clean cut like that, a physical or energetic lean in, whatever that is. And that's opening the door for us to step in and share our great things. Now, going back to this feeling recognized within ourselves, right? That helps us to show up and recognize and to be recognized by other people. But do you have a ritual of like looking at your wins or recognizing yourself? Or maybe that's a practice where you're like, oh yeah, I could, work on and things. I mean, this is all, life is a practice. We're all working on it. There is never a perfect day. But do you have a ritual of some sort that you do or that you recommend for your clients?
So that has been one of my biggest wounds in this lifetime, has been the not being recognized or feeling unseen or hidden. And, I know that that's part of being a projector. And it's also related, I was talking earlier about the book that I was reading, you have certain experiences in your childhood and whatever. It's all perfect. But what I've recently been learning is, and it was such a big revelation for me, was just about putting my own needs first. Like what you were just saying, unless we recognize ourselves first, we can't really recognize others, or we don't have much left over to recognize others. And I feel like that is just such a massive wound, not only for the people that I work with, but for our collective as a whole. And there's a legacy still running there from older times. This glorification of self-sacrifice that exists still in our world, that you're not a good person unless you give everything of yourself. And there's a lot of religious stories and spiritual stories around that kind of archetype of that human, like the martyr. And as a mom as well, that whole nother level comes in. And so, in certain cases, we do need to give of ourselves, and it has to happen. But for me, it's something that I really need to keep front of mind in order for it to happen in my life, because I've previously got my the way that I used to be seen was by helping others, and so I've got that kind of enmeshed. So I've got it in my system I had it in my system that I'm invisible, and if I help other people, then they'll see me, and then I will feel recognized.
It's almost like a codependency type of thing.
Yeah, it's like it's sort of, but it's just a way of like, hello, I'm over here. You know what I mean? Oh, how can I get some attention? Okay, well, if I help other people, then that might get me attention. And that's a huge thing, not only in my life, but in a lot of people's lives. And, people will give so much of themselves to the extent where they are like they're in flames and burning and they'll help this person over there. And so, yeah, it's a practice that I am continually working on, is recognizing that it's okay to fulfill my needs, and that the more that I do that, the more my cup is filled up, and the more I'm able to help other people.
Yes, yeah. It's I think about it like when I get on an airplane and travel, and they're like, hey, if you're traveling with a child, put your mask on first and then put it on them. Well, and there's such a great principle, because we can't help others, we can't become more ourselves if if we hit the fan and we're like dead to the world. It just doesn't create anything for anyone. And the more that we stand in our power with any human design, the more we stand in the power that really is our gift to others. Yeah. The more work that we do on ourselves, the better we show up for our business, the better we show up for our relationships, for our team, for our families, for everybody involved. So there's no selfishness in the care of ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So the next part on your chart that spoke to me is your gate 58, and this is the pressure to perfect. So now this is not it's not the pressure to be perfect. Okay, it's a pressure. It's this driven to reach towards a better version of what was already there. So it feels the pressure for things to get better. You can provide fuel to groups, teams, your clients. It's almost like this childlike joy that shows up because you know things can be improved and you have this drive to be able to improve it. Now, the action step for this is to make sure to stay in this more positive zone of like things can get better instead of being like, gosh, it's just hit the fan and forget it all, type of thing. This is so not worth it to not even start. But how have you seen this gift within your coaching practice as you bring this to your clients, this ability to see where they are and how they can become better?
Wow, that's really beautiful. That's such an amazing thing for you to witness, because that's a definite gift of mine, and that's something that I've done forever. I have that ability to just see how we can improve on something, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's just how life is. When you said that, I was like, oh, of course. Oh, but no one, not everyone has that, like we were saying.
Right.
When I work with the clients that I work with, we ground into where we are. And that's really important, I feel, is to accept, where we are and what we're doing and where we're at. And to also visualize, I like to see it as a spiral. Sometimes you come across something in your life and then you think you've sort of healed it and you're like, yeah, I've nailed that. And then maybe like a year or two later, you come across the same thing again. You're like, shit, I thought I fixed that. I like to see it as a spiral. It's like octaves of the same thing, and you're dealing with like the next layer of it. And I feel like that's what we do in life. We're always just recreating like a newly envisaged version of who we are and what we want to create. And we don't know who we'll be in the future. All we know is who we are now. And the more we can ground into who we are and what we're here to do and our vision, like in the now moment, that's where I feel our power is. Like there's a lot of people who see it differently in terms of, I don't know, like I'm into spirituality, but what I'm not into is like, there's talk about, ascending, or, there's a lot of talk about like going into this 5D reality, or there's a lot of this kind of thing, which people talk about. I'm not negating that.
Right.
But what I don't like is this idea that there is something better outside of ourselves.
Yeah, it's like we're broken somehow.
Yeah.
Yes.
That we just avoid where we are. Like, no, in my view, it's like the more we can be us and learn who we are and come into ourselves, that's where the power lies. Because then you can kind of move up that octave of moving through what you've got going on and create what you're here to create. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. Yeah, and I love that it's a creation process, like it's but being grounded again in who we stand in and recognizing that we can build whatever future is in front of us from the very tools that we have inside. We don't need to go out and try and be like, well, I'm just off in this area, let me try and get this, or maybe I should be more of a chameleon to this type of person, like take on their attributes, which never works,
Yeah.
But it seems like that is a lot of what happens when people are opening up their own businesses, or they're trying to hit the next level. They're like, who can I emulate?
Yes.
And we just need to emulate and magnify ourselves even more. And that's what draws it in.
That's it. That's what, we talked about me being a business and alignment coach. The alignment part is exactly that. It's not about emulation. It's about, who are you? Like that's why I love the idea of human design, because it's like, I don't know, I've heard someone describe it as an instruction manual for yourself. It's like, okay, well, who am I? Like, me, what is the right thing for me? Not the blueprint of someone else, or like the business strategy that's right for them. No, what is you are so unique. There is nobody else on this planet like you at all. You're the only one. How can we share your gifts and your knowledge and your experience, your wisdom with the world in the most aligned way? Because that's what makes people burn out. It's like doing the 5 a.m. club when then a projector. Like, you don't need to do the 5 a.m. club.
It is not going to work. No, I agree. Well, another part of your chart that really stood out to me is your spleen. And your spleen is a defined center the spleen defined as intuition and fears. Now we think of like fears sometimes as a negative connotation, but we can rewrite that as, hey, I have a nose for understanding when things will go sideways, kind of not anticipating or future tripping, but just like, hey, I can see how this can develop, we can go this way and stuff like that. Well, you have a channel from your root to the spleen, and it's the 2838 channel. And this is the champion of individuality. Okay. Oh, you get that. Okay. You fight for causes and people who are right. You have this kind of just watch me kind of thing, You can anticipate, because it's attached to the spleen, you can kind of anticipate these different intuitions and fears. And you also have a define, your inner authority is your spleen as well. And so that helps you make decisions, is really tapping into that. But you have this determination of what could be possible for others. Have this ability to see, like, with this intuitive sense, but then also have the drive to back up to it. So remember, like, when we have a channel, it's these two centers are activated, and so they play into each other, and they strengthen the overall gift as well with that. So as you've been, as you've gone throughout your business and career, how have you leaned on your intuition to really make decisions, to showcase the direction you want to go into?
I've always been someone who I've always had sort of hits or intuition, and I haven't always trusted that. I've learned to trust that over the years. Like I was saying before, sometimes you think afterwards, oh, I knew that was going to happen. Okay, maybe I'll trust that next time. It's like a muscle that you've got to learn to trust. Otherwise, I used to think I was crazy to listen to that. Like, why would I listen to some voice inside my head? You know what I mean? Like, but throughout my time, throughout my time online, like I've been online for 10 years, and I've done a bunch of different things in that time. And if I didn't listen to my intuition, and if I didn't listen to those little hits, I would have maybe stayed in something that wasn't right for me. So I started out, I had a blog, and then I did health coaching, and then I had an e-commerce store where I was selling raw chocolate that was delicious. So I had an e-commerce store. Then I had another blog, like an activist educational organization that I was partnered with my hubby. And I've done a lot of things, and each time I knew when it was time to shift to something else. And it's funny, because if I wasn't in tune with that, I have another tendency to want to go and just to complete things, right?
Yes.
And sometimes we can do that to our own detriment, like just keep pushing despite the signs. And so each time that I've done that, I've listened to these signs. And the last really big sign that I had was 4 years ago when I started the business that I'm in, mentoring and coaching. And that just felt really right for me. It was the right time. There was some nudges from the universe, like multiple nudges from different people pointing me in that direction. I had the support from my partner. It was just like boom, 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 boom. This is the sign. And yeah, that's like the last iteration. And I think you've got to learn to listen to that. And it's not always easy. Like still sometimes I'm like, oh, I knew that. I knew that. Why didn't I listen to that?
I know, you're like, hello, I thought yeah. Well, and I love that you phrase that as nudges, like kind of this nudge to do something, and when I coach with people who have defined spleens, and that's their inner authority. And I'm like, listen to that and just take your brain out of the whole thing. That logic side is not going to work on this. It's a feelings thing. And if people don't understand, well, I just felt like I should do this, then, and they're like, well, it doesn't make sense. Well, yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it will,
Yeah.
always will. It always makes sense in the end. It always makes sense as you follow that thing. There's one other gate that stood out to me that I wanted to chat about.
Okay.
And this is the gate 48. And this is the fear of inadequacy. Now, again, we can, when we're talking fears, another thing is a nose for inadequacy. I have a nose for inadequacy in others and in yourself as well. So this feeling that I don't have what it takes, maybe I shouldn't start something because I'm not super qualified or whatever. And reframing that to realize, oh, you know what? I do have lots of qualifications. Qualifications don't look like a degree. We really don't learn much in college. Honestly, I think about it, I'm like, gosh, that's such an expensive and cool experience. But but we learn so much more from life, from experiences and who we are. So I'm coaching a manifester, and she's like, well, I want to launch this business. But I don't feel like I have the degree or the certification to back it up. And I was like, wait, let's see, how many years of experience have you been dealing with this situation that you want to coach on? And she's like, a long time. And I'm like, there you go. You're much more qualified than you think you are. And especially in this work that you do with aligning your students with who they're meant to be, having a nose for, oh, I can see how you can feel inadequate. Let's reframe that to say, hey, you have all these qualifications, you have this and this and that. And then doing the same thing for yourself, whenever you've gone to many different careers, and we're always up leveling ourselves, of course, we're always going to hit this ceiling of like, oh, I'm not quite sure, but you have a nose for understanding how you can be sure. You have that.
Really, yeah, that's cool. I like the way you put that, like a nose for inadequacy. Because when I think about my own life, that's something that's been there quite a lot. Is that little niggle of, do I have enough? Am I enough? And a lot of people have that as well. But when I'm working with clients, I'm always bringing them back to themselves, bringing them back to their own lane, bringing them back to what they're here to do. And it's funny because our world is the complete opposite. It's all about comparison. It's all about how many followers you have and what this person's doing. And it's like, it's always projected outwards to what everyone else is doing. And if you're someone who is doing the opposite, like bringing yourself inwards, you can fall into that trap of inadequacy if you're comparing yourself to other people. But what I like, the advice that I give other people and should give myself and do give myself is that you have your own lane, you have your own thing that you're here to do, and nobody else, like I said, is here is you. No one else can be you, and so it's pointless comparing yourself to anyone else. And I often, with my clients, get them to really narrow their focus, like particularly, and you'll find this like on my Instagram and things, I really keep this I really keep a very narrow perspective on the outside world, because I find it distracts me from my own path. You know, if I'm on Instagram and I'm following like thousands of people, I'm just constantly in this soup of, "Oh, maybe I should do this." Da, 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 da. You know, it's just like this endless loop of how I'm inadequate and how all these other people are succeeding and they've got this and I'm not doing that. And so if I focus on that, I'm always going to be inadequate. But if instead I'm focused on this very narrow, like, okay, this is where I'm going, this is where I'm heading, these are the people who can support me, these are the people who light me up, who I can learn from and who inspire me, then that's how I kind of keep myself in check and keep that inadequacy kind of voice at bay.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is. It's really like having those boundaries of what do we allow in and who do we allow in to influence us, you know? And as a projector, you know, again, we have all those open centers. And so we're going to be influenced. We're going to feel other people's stuff. And so allowing that release and allowing saying, hey, you know, this is kind of your boundary of stuff that comes in, you know? So that is beautiful. Aimee, this has been so wonderful. I have been so filled with your great energy and this beautiful words that have come through this and learning really to be aligned in your projector life and in business. So I would love to hear, where can people find you, connect with you, work with you?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, Aimee Devlin. That's my username. I am currently redoing my website, so it's linked to a page for one of my trainings. The best way to contact me, just send me a message, DM me and say, hey, I found you via Courtney and I'd love to connect with you. I love creating relationships with people. As you would know, Courtney, like it can get overwhelming having so many people. You know, like I think social media has become, particularly in the business world, quite an impersonal place. And there's a lot of people creating these connections not for the right reasons. And I like to bring people in to who I enjoy, who I would actually like spend time with in my life. And they're the people that I like to work with inside of my business, people who I would be friends with and we have connected values and similar ideas about the world. So I would say currently that the best way to contact me is just, reach out, send me a friend request and send me a message. And I'm currently building a quiz at the moment that if you're, looking to build a business, or you have a business and you're kind of like not sure if it's the right type for you, I'm building a quiz at the moment called which type of business will give you the most freedom, because freedom is the most important thing in my life. And I've recognized over time that certain businesses are more inclined to give more freedom than others for different people. So if you want the link to that, it'll be ready soon. Just, send that in the message as well.
Perfect. Oh, that's so great. Thank you, Aimee, again, so much for being on today. We so appreciate you and wisdom, and it's been great to get to know you and meet in person as well, or online,
Feels like a person after the last couple of years.
It does, for reals. Thank you, Aimee, so much.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye. Oh my goodness, wasn't that incredible, you guys? Like, just the messaging of those nudges, following those nudges, having a nose for that intuition, not allowing intuition to be a chain, but actually an avenue where we can follow and open up and have beauty within our lives. We have an amazing masterclass next week. It's velocity. How do you find velocity using your human design? We talk about that alignment of what that looks like using your own gifts within your sphere of your business and of your life as well. So this is going to be all about a party to really launch my podcast. So we have a podcast coming. It's the Become Podcast. It's going to be released next Wednesday. So I'll give you guys the links. You can download and subscribe to all the things, but we're going to be having a party. And through that party, we'll be learning our velocity through our human design. I will also be giving away a velocity course during the masterclass, as well as a human design reading and a month subscription to the Become program. So make sure you come on that. Drop masterclass below, and we'll get you the link for that with the workbook as well. So can't wait to see you on that. You guys, let's rise to thrive.